It's time to start. So welcome everybody to Exploring Beyond Diesel 2. To start with, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet. In my particular area, that is the Yuin Nation. Obviously, everybody else has got their own sort of grouping, and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Whether I'm welcoming you back for the first time, or welcoming you back for the first time, I'd just like to remind you that the videos from this series can be found on the websites at ToCal and at DPI. I'd just also like to thank the speakers for making their time available and to help us in this exploration of future possibilities as we explore what might be beyond diesel. As far as speaker introductions go, I'm going to do them at the time of their time slot because the segments get recorded in little compartments. So if we do it at the start, we don't get an intro of the person when they start. So it'll be like that. There will be a comfort break somewhere between 2:30 and 3, depending on how we run, but we'll have a 15-minute break in that time, just so we can go to the loo, grab a cup of tea, etc., etc. Other thing is to introduce the ToCal help people. Natasha is the queen of technology and overseer of all things, which does come with the problem of being, you know, if anything goes wrong, we get to blame her. So if it all goes well, she's the superstar. But look, so thanks heaps, ToCal and Tash, for helping out with getting this to run. Otherwise, it's got to run through my phone, and that's very dodgy. Yes. Okay. So that's the general intro. I'll cover off on a few more things in a minute, but over to Tash to talk about the Slido. In this one, we're going to try and use the Slido technique and for questioning and get, you know, a bit more involvement. So over to you, Tash.
Thanks, John. I'll just share my screen. So to make things a little bit more interactive with this webinar, we're going to try using Slido. So this is the Slido on your screen. If you use your phone and go to your camera app and wave it over the QR code on your screen, the Slido app should load on your phone. Or you can go to slido.com in your browser and join with the Beyond Diesel hashtag. We will be running polls and questions through Slido during the webinar. And you can also ask questions whenever you like, just by typing them into your phone. And you'll be able to vote up other people's questions. So when it comes to question time, we will read out the most popular questions for the speakers. So just to give you a bit of a test, hopefully you've all got Slido downloaded. It should be very quick. In one word, tell us how you are feeling today. I'm glad lots of people are feeling excited, great and good, and only a few people are feeling meh and okay. Now I'm just going to ask one more question before we get stuck in. And where are you joining us from today? We're very interested to know where you are located in Australia and joining us today. All over the place.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll use Slido throughout the webinar. So please keep that on your phone and ask any questions to the presenters as we go along. I'll just close that and I'll go back to your presentation, John.
All good.
And also please remember the Zoom chat box. If you're not comfortable using Slido, you can still also ask your questions through the chat box. Now I'll go back to try and find your presentation again, John.
It's all right, it'll pop
Lots
up.
of screens going on here.
Yeah, no, you're doing well, Tash. So
Go, it should come up any minute.
Yeah, no, that looks
There we go.
good. Okay, so what I want to do is just give a really quick overview of the project that's running this event and where it sits and what it does and what are the other parts of it. So there is, in the previous, in Exploring Beyond Diesel 1, Mike went through a fairly detailed overview of it. So if you've got interest, you can nip back into that one on the website and look at that. But just in really quick terms, the project is, if you nip through that to the next one, Tash, we just jump along a couple. I don't know if I can drive that or not, but.
No, you can't.
Oh,
Is that the one you want?
Yeah, look, that'll be fine. So look, we're a DPI, New South Wales Department of Primary Industry project. We're funded through a climate change fund, and we've got an energy efficient solutions is the name of the project, and it's got two parts to it. It's about addressing rising energy costs and productivity, I guess. So if we flick to the next one, the objectives are pretty straightforward. We reduce the risk to businesses. We check out some new technologies, find out what might work and what might not, and reduce the risks of early adoption. So flick on. So to do this, the way they've designed the project, there's two complementary bits. One is some pilots, and they're in the process of being signed off and funding agreements drawn up at this point. And I think there's 11 projects that will be dotted around the countryside looking at innovative energy saving technologies. And the other part of it, if we jump on to the next one, I'll just jump to the next one. So go back. So the main part of that pilot scheme deals with it's electricity, gas usage. It doesn't deal so much with the broad acre diesel related usage. So we jump on. So the second part, which I'm in charge of, is this education and awareness campaign or process where we're looking at making people more aware through various forms of education and training, some with TOCAL as a course, some with things like this today and other published information. And jump on. And that's really how I guess we're going to try and look at some of the impacts of diesel. So, you know, it's a broad acre thing. There's 86% of the energy that goes into ag comes from diesel. If we want to have a bit of an impact on climate change issues and that sort of stuff, it seems logical to me, we need to sort of chew on the diesel usage to some extent and understand what the options might be. And that's what the focus of this series is about. Okay, so that's pretty much a thumbnail sketch of our project. And look, just the first one of these we ran back in July. We explored the alternative, and this is the sheet up on the screen is the program for that day. And basically we explored the importance of alternatives due to our reliance on diesel. There's fuel security issues, there's climate related issues, all that hang around with diesel. So it's important to look at the alternatives. We had looked at batteries, their uses and limitations, and we looked at some different power options like green diesel, gas and hydrogen. We saw an example of change where John and Karen on their cotton farm moved from diesel pumping to using solar electric pumping and how that worked out. And we checked out an electric tractor and its benefits and some of the issues around that. So that whole day and all those recordings are available on the web through, if you've managed to get here, you'll probably be able to pop back and find those. So they're on TOCAL and they're on the DPI website. So, but today's focus is really for our intrepid group of explorers, which we are, is to have a bit of a poke at methane as an alternative fuel to diesel. And so we're going to do that looking at the tractor that's in existence, and methane production options that are also in existence. So that's going to be the focus of the day. We've got a few other things that we're going to look at with Charles will be sort of stretching us around with some of the other fuel mixes, and Neil will pop in and update us on where the hydrogen story is up to. So that's pretty much the lay of the land for the day. And so with no further ado, I wouldn't be surprised if we stop a little bit early. So, you know, I've got us penciled in till about 4:30, but we may end up a little bit early depending on how many questions people throw up. So there should be plenty of discussion time if you want to engage in that. Okay.